Inspiration Nation, hello, Lee Kemp here for another week on the podcast, here with both my very good friends, Ryan Boniface and Jose Noya. I should have made a joke where Joe isn't my friend, but I mistimed it. Anyway, how are we doing, guys?
That's all right. I thought Joe's not your friend, but Jose is. Is that right?
Yeah, I like Jose better than Joe.
And also, do you know, if you've not got your background on, just let you know,
Oh, I
FYI.
haven't. Look at that. You can see my horribly decorated room. Let's just put my background on because it looks a bit scabby. I need to get decorating. Thank you for that. Wise bit of advice. Right. This week I am the man with a topic, and we touched on this a few weeks ago, and I asked if I ever did a podcast to the song Sunscreen by Baz Luhrmann. And you said no. And I checked through the archives and I don't think we have done this. So I want to talk about this particular song. I better
No.
just check. Ryan, do you know what this song is?
No.
Oh my god. So after this,
Did you gasp?
that was a big gasp, Jose. After this, I would like to.
Sorry.
Do you know in it? Do you want
We
one more
better go with
gasp?
this. Come on, sorry.
You know when I said we're against the time limit here? You're just.
I gathered that.
You're like the.
Ryan's been telling me off before we got on there. Yeah. Ryan's been really telling me off as soon as they come on the call.
What did I do?
Full of tomfoolery, and there's no need for it.
Sorry, I think I just had one of them days. I'm apologies.
I think you're having one of those days right now. Right. So anyway, so everyone knows, we were supposed to start 20 minutes ago, but Jose couldn't find the power button to his Mac, and we've been waiting for ages for this.
I just love the Homer Simpson reference. It was perfect because it actually worked. That's actually my IT guidance. It was brilliant.
Press any key. I can't find any key. There's no any key.
Oh no.
Anyway, moving on. Not Jose. Jesus, it's all over the place. Ryan, when we are finished this, I would like you to Spotify and just listen to it because it's very impactful to me, and I think it was and this is one of those things, a bit like when we talked about the Mr. Brightside song. This is a song that since I was about 20, maybe even in my late teens, I've heard this, and I've heard this at multiple times. And it's I guess it's good you haven't heard it. It's a very reflective song. So it's spoken word with music in the background, and it's a guy giving out his tips to life. This apparently actually comes from a letter that a school teacher wrote to his children. School teacher wrote to his class, almost like a poem, if you like, and it got taken, it got turned into song. It's, I say, lots of tips for life. And I guess when I was much younger, I heard this and it resonated. It's really impactful, but it was from the perspective of advice for a life I haven't even really started living yet. And it was aspirational, and it's, advice for the future. I then heard it at different stages over the year, where generally it was, oh, this is really cool. And then I've heard it again a few times recently, only I'm now maybe 25 years older than the first time I heard it, and a lot of that stuff now applies directly to I am, if not where I've been. So it's just interesting how my perspective on the song has changed, and it still gives me huge inspiration, but the reasons why it gives me huge inspiration are completely different now to when I was younger.
Okay.
And that's, I guess I just wanted to talk through some of that, which is why I say, like I do with some of these, long or short, we'll see how it goes. But I've got some choice. So it's just lots of lines of ideas and quotes and stuff like that. So I didn't know if even I've got all the lyrics here. I just go through these and I read them out. And this is like quick fire quotes. And we'll talk about how we feel, what it means to us, etc., etc. But it starts off, I'll give you the opening paragraph before we go into it, and then I'll paraphrase through my favourites. But wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proven by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience, and I would dispense this now. And then you get a guitar, plong, and he goes into his advice. I'll give you the first one then. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked. You are not as fat as you imagine. And I won't throw it over. I'm not Jose, but on that first one, that to me, because I'm 25 years older now, and we talked about this in various podcasts, and I'll be very open. At that age, I had zero confidence in myself, and I would put myself in the I'm not an attractive person category. I didn't have a lot of confidence. Blah blah blah. I didn't value myself very well at that time whatsoever. Probably looking back and knowing at the time whatsoever. I now look at photos of myself and I tell myself, what the F were you thinking? If I could pour my confidence now into that body back then, I'd be laughing. And obviously I heard that, and I didn't, at the time, I wouldn't have thought that one relates to me, but I can't believe how much it does. And we've talked about this before in that kind of how you give advice to your younger self. And I don't think you can. No one really will learn from other people's experience. You've got to go through it yourself, but it's only number one. We'll see where it goes, but if there's anything I could change, it's having current self-belief back then in a younger, fitter, more able body than I've got now. Over to you, fellows.
Ryan?
I don't think there's going to be an awful lot I can glean from this without listening to it first, obviously. But I think there's definitely been times where I've been given advice or have heard advice or have heard something in a song that's, I suppose, trying to give advice. And I've definitely been naive and thought, well, I can't see how that'll ever apply to me, but okay. And then it has happened more than once in my life where it's something has then applied and I've then been able to use the advice that's been given in any of those circumstances to help. I can't think of anything specifically off the top of my head, but I do know that it's happened. But just as much as I've taken that advice, I've also probably disregarded it the same. And I think that's obviously, the point that we're trying to make is the less of that you can do and the more absorbent you can be of advice and experiences from people around you, the more well equipped you're going to be when situations arise for you.
Yeah, and I think this is because you're, as we said, we're seeing different perspectives. You're at that place where a lot of this, you're at the age where this advice is for you, as opposed to me and Jose are more at the point of where you start to dispense some of this advice to people. But that's the different perspective to talk about on this and how it goes. Jose, quickly on that first one, is there anything? And I say I'll rapid fire a few of these to see how we feel.
Yeah, I really like it. And I think this is also reminding me of the Robin Sharma episodes. I think we could do quite a lot on this. I think this could go to part 4, this one. I really do think that, because I think there's a lot in this. And I went back to my days, didn't I? I don't know if you remember, Lee and Ryan, on the podcast where I really struggled with my confidence when I was younger about the football and not thinking I was good enough and couldn't make it. And I had a friend that was, I thought was my friend. You do think they're friends, but that undermine your confidence. And I was very unconfident, a bit like you, Lee. And as I got older, well, now I'm a lot more confident. As you said, Lee, if I could pour this confidence into that young person, I don't know where I'd be now. That's an interesting thought, though, isn't it? To see if you could pour that into that person and see where you'd end up. Because if you could recognize, as this says, the power of your youth, I think that's what it said, the power of your youth, you really could accelerate things, sport-wise, anything-wise, really, because you do have that energy. I'm not saying I haven't got the energy now, but you do have that there's something in the drive. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because I've noticed since getting into my 50s, from a physical point of view, I don't have that. When your legs, your legs, I don't know if you get it, you guys remember that, but when you're younger, you just have this energy in your legs. Like when I play football, I had this real energy in my legs. Like it would just like be spring, like boom. I used to be really quick down the left, and that's no longer there. I don't have that. But if I could have that now, oh my God, if I could just go into that body now and have this level of commitment, I think commitment and direction, who knows where this could end. It would be brilliant. And this is why it's really difficult, like you said, Lee, to take this on board when you're that age, because I don't think you quite understand the concept of what this is actually saying to you. The power of my youth. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to play whatever. I'm just going to just go around and do whatever. And you do, and it's a part of enjoying life. But if we could get a bit of direction and have that enjoyment and really have that awareness, then I think, yeah, the sky's that there's not even a limit to this. I think it would just be incredible. And if I could pour this confidence into my younger self, I would have probably broken away from quite a few friendships and created something different. But it's not that. I had to go through it, and it's made me who I am now, and I'm quite happy with that. But that's an interesting thought experiment, though. So thank you, Lee, for this. I really do think this is very valuable, and I think anyone who's listening to this in there, well, Ryan, you're still in your 20s, aren't you? In your 20s, you're not. Oh, you've gone past it.
He's a smidge. He's a smidge past it now.
Oh, smidge, only a smidge. Oh, you've gone muting. I think you're muted there, Ryan. You're going to say something. I couldn't hear you.
I'm old man now.
Old man, you're not old. Not compared to us. But that's what I'm thinking, is that if I had that, it's incredible. So, yeah, if you are listening to this, you're of that age, please take note and accelerate. It's fantastic. Thank you, Lee, for that. I really like this one.
So, and I'll pick a few out here. I think you're definitely right. If you guys are good with it, I'd like to do a second one on this just to pick through. And again, my big bit is the perspectives bit on this. You look like you got someone on TikTok to shout out there, Jose.
Oh, yeah. Someone I haven't actually seen in our live before. Thank you. TikTok Waffler, which I love that handle, actually. I think that's a brilliant handle. He said, unfortunately, we spend our younger years too worried about the opinions of others. Very true.
Absolutely.
In my view. What do you think?
Absolutely right. Agree 100%. And I think that's a big part of this. So, next one. And again, these aren't in an order. We'll retrack some through, but don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead. Sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and in the end, it's only with yourself. And again, that's something that from where I would have been on the starting blocks, if you like, that's a bit of don't beat yourself up too much on where you are, how it goes. Now that I'm midway through that journey, I've definitely been ahead sometimes. I've definitely been way behind. It is not a straight line whatsoever. And a bit going back to that comment that was just made there on TikTok as well, the race is only with yourself. I think there's that big bit when you realise you're not competing with other people, and actually everyone else cares a lot less than you probably think about where you are and how things look. And once you get to that inner reward space, you help free your mind up a lot from things. And I definitely go from somewhere where I've gone through that whole journey, and I can now that I'm along it, that winding road has definitely been winding.
Yeah, and as I said, this one, I really like this one about your own race. That's what came to mind, your own race, running your own race, because we do look at others. And I think you mentioned this as well. You look at others, you think, oh, they're ahead of me, they're behind. But actually, it is against you. And it's actually a Rocky Balboa song, Eye the Tiger. It's you against you. It's just you against you. It is. You're just trying to get better. And TikTok Waffler just said about that comment before about the opinion of others. He also just said, I think it's a really valid point. Back then, Lee, I think Ryan, you might have, I don't know, you might have to just, I'm not quite good with memory on that. But he said, and we didn't have the internet, which he says he sees as a blessing, or they see as a blessing, they see as a blessing, which is really fascinating to me, because the internet has created that phenomenon on social media where you see these really happy things, don't you? And I think you said, Lee, I think before, where when you went onto Instagram, you think, well, you compare yourself to others and think, oh, I have to dial back from that and find my own race. And I think you mentioned that before on the podcast before, didn't you, Lee, around that whole comparison culture and expectation culture.
There was a lot of that. I think I found it very overwhelming on Instagram at first, because it was all these people, right. Literally every minute of your life is accounted for and being productive, and you've got all the, and it was almost like if you aren't building, you're falling behind. And it was just like, it's burnout culture really. And I learned to moderate that and get the balance. And I definitely think there's a lot more of that now, because you're exposed to a lot more people's views. But even back before the internet, as we'd have been, I mean, say you'd have known me when I was at this early stages and everything like that, and you still had peer pressure, you had celebrity pressure. There wasn't the volume but it still very much existed, and it was a lot more solid because it wasn't as transient, and you definitely didn't get you can get content now that balances out, and I don't think a lot of that was there as well. It's very much around peer group, who you're with. It's a lot more the kind of schoolyard environment, I think, carried on a lot more into the working world or the outside school world than it does now as well, but it's replaced with other pressures without question.
Well, I think the other thing here with it, with the internet and mobile phones is that you take it into your bedroom, don't you? It's there. You never get away from it. So the schoolyard thing, the comparison is always there. Where when we were at school, or I was at school, Lee, you could just go home, and then you didn't have any access to that. No one could contact you. No one could message you. You wouldn't be able to see anything. All you could do is just like go home, watch a bit of TV, like Knight Rider and $6 Million Man, which I actually bloody loved, and just go out and play your mates. And that was really cool. But now, you just don't get away from it. So I do think you're rightly, in a certain context as well. I think there was a lot more. I suppose there were celebrities that were really in your face, and they had to be quite larger than life because they had to get your attention in a limited space where they didn't really have social media. Now they're on TV or whatever. But as he said, people were influenced still by it. And I was influenced by $6 Million Man and Rocky and all that lot, and I loved that. So yeah, I think there's definitely a value in your own race. And again, I think as going back to younger, I think this is something where people of a younger age could really, really think about, that it is you, and that you just run your own race. Yes, people are going to be ahead of you, people are behind, but just show up consistently and just be better than you were yesterday, a little bit, enjoy your life, go for what you want to do, but just do it slowly but surely. And I do really believe in that thing. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's just slowly every day, James Clear, gradually just ramp up those steps slowly but surely in a really manageable way, which you do daily. And I think if you do that and don't just go crazy, you're going to be okay. But yeah, and there are people who are born with more advantages than you, and there are people who are born who are less advantageous than you. And I think that's where we've got to park that and say, well, where am I right now compared to I was a year ago? What do I want to do? And I think that's a really important question. So I really like this. I love these quotes, by the way, Lee. Yeah, it's great. Thank you for that. Meg's joined as well. Meg. Thanks, Meg.
Hello.
Archie's joined as well. Thank you, Archie, for joining. Saw Archie joined. Anyway, just for shouting out.
That's good.
We know
good
Meg.
Shout outs. We certainly do. Two-time podcast guest. The only two-time podcast. Oh, no.
Really? No, Mark Drager.
Mark Drager. There we go. We've got two-time podcast guests. So,
and
good company.
Joe, right? Two-time. Once I did it, then we all did it, didn't we?
Once was interviews with IN when that was a thing. Anyway,
that's right.
Conscious of time. You're eating it up, Jose. Eating it up. Right.
Okay, yep.
Don't feel guilty if you don't know what to do with your life. The most interesting people I know don't know at 22 what they... The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. And again, here, juxtaposition, hearing that when I'm 18... I think that for some reason that one's always stuck at me at various places throughout life. But and a slightly different framing on this for me personally on my journey. And I'll put that there's a 2 to 4 year margin of error in the years on this. But teenage Lee, 20-year-old Lee, 30-year-old Lee, and 40-year-old Lee are completely different people. I think my view on the world, how I approached things, what my self-identity is, what my aspirations were, other things, I can really clearly define those four people. And I'm a bit like, because I'm a super nerd, I love Doctor Who. And for those that don't know, Doctor Who regenerates basically when they need a new actor for the role to keep it going. And he's still the same person. He's still the Doctor. But as well as regenerating his physical form, he does become, there's a new personality. He's a new person. I saw there's an episode I watched it a while ago, and he says that he becomes someone completely new, and that's okay as long as he still remembers who he is and where he came from. And I identify with that. I do feel like there are those distinct, and you take it back, there's a school Lee and a young Lee. There's probably 6 distinct versions of me, and I am the same person, but I'm not the same person. And let's, I'm in the 40-year-old version of that now. Let's see what the 50 and the 60 and the 70, and I'm determined to get to 120. So there's a lot of versions still to come, and I'm comfortable with that. I don't think I'm in my final, set of ambitions and goals and life and whatever else. There's more still to come, and I'm quite embracing of that, I think. So I do know what I want to do right now, but I don't think I necessarily know what I want to do for life, if that makes sense.
Love that. Yeah, I love that whole thing about, it's almost, I don't know with you, Ryan, because I want to bring you in, and for me it's just around, no one's got it figured out. I love that, because no one has got it figured out. I don't think they have. Yeah. People think they look like got it figured out, but they haven't got it figured out. No one's got it figured out, which I really love. Anyway, Ryan, I'll throw this to you because I'm non-conscious that I would like to get your view from your perspective.
I think if I'd have heard that at 18, I wouldn't have believed it. I think that's quite relevant. So I think most people at 18 wouldn't believe that. People think I would think that's just something that older people are saying to me to make me feel better about the fact that my life isn't yet to get together, but it will be. But I think as time's gone on, and as the older I've got, and as the more experiences that I've been through, I think it's fair to say that it's probably not far off the mark, that sort of comment. It's difficult because these are the lessons that realistically you're not taught, right?
Yes.
And you feel like an idiot when you find them out, but in fact you're probably one of tens of thousands, or whatever, millions of people that have only just coming to that realization at that point, so to speak.
Yeah,
Right.
I totally agree, and I think I had no exposure to this stuff when I was younger, and I wouldn't really understand it because I wasn't really. I don't think I had the capacity. I don't know. I don't think personally, this is my own thing. I didn't have capacity. I was just enjoying life, going playing football, just living life, just not really, just enjoying it. Actually, I quite like that though. It's like it was quite nice.
And I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, I agree.
But I'm thinking the same as you, Ryan. At the time, I probably heard that and listened to it, and it was almost reassuring, but the same that I don't know, how much you buy into that. Sorry, go on, Jose. You were going to say.
Just going to give mega shout because they've subscribed to an Apple podcast. Not only that podcast, but the Apple
Love
podcast.
It.
Just want to do.
That's one of the best things anyone can do. That helps in the algorithms. Right, I'm trying to. I don't know if I squeeze one more in or not. So we will leave.
Got 3 minutes, haven't we?
So I'll just tell everyone, thank you, support, as was done there. Subscribe, like, etc. Inspirational.org UK is the place to go. I was torn on the last one to do, and I think if you guys are good, we'll do a bit more of this next week. I've sent the link in our WhatsApp. So Ryan, I really want you to listen to this before then. And I will do. I'll keep an eye on the time. This might just be a cliffhanger quote, and I was torn on which one to do. But this one ties into a lot of things we've said, and it resonates a bit with the last quotes. So whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance, and so are everybody else's. And I love that, especially that last bit, as it is. You don't, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Don't be too boastful when you're up, and don't kick yourself when you're down. And everyone else is in the same position. And again, as life's gone on, more and more, that is absolutely the case.
So wise. It's just really wise. I'm going to add this to my Spotify funky list. I've got like a funky Spotify place. I'm going to add it to this. I'm going to look it up.
Actually, when we're done with this, dinner. So I want to carry this over.
I want to actually re-listen to the song. Yeah.
We're almost out on the time, so I will wrap us up, but we'll leave that as a cliffhanger, and we'll talk through some more next week. And if you both get a chance next week to listen, outside of what I read out, I'd love to know from both of you what really resonates as a quote with that. And anyone who's now listening, particularly those who subscribe, you might be on YouTube, you might be on Apple Podcasts, you might be on Spotify, etc., etc., etc. Leave us a comment about what your favourite quote is from the song. We'd love to see that, and maybe even talk about that next week.
Lovely. Can I just give Painhammer a little shout out because they just got to level 10 in my fan club? So I was
Love it.
Shout out.
I
Thank
mean,
you for that.
who'd
Penny.
have
I mean, you're
thought there'd be a
amazing.
day when Jose had 10 fans, eh? Let alone people reaching
Yeah,
that height.
this is
But we're
level
there.
10 in my fan club. I don't actually know what that actually means. You know me, my computer's, I've got no idea.
We know your computer
Yeah.
things. That's why we started late today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I love the little Homer thing you sent to me. It was brilliant. That was really funny. It was
And
great.
there is a Simpsons gif for every occasion. That is for sure.
So good. It was so good. I just made me giggle. I was like, oh, yeah. And you know, it's so funny. When it arrived in the box, it just went, oh, the computer worked. I thought, this is brilliant. It's good. Better timing, Lee. It's brilliant. Oh, I love that. Okay. Oh, can't do takeaways. Probably not enough time for takeaways.
We haven't. We're going to count down.
Gotta do
Everyone, thank you for the support. We'll be back this week. 3, 2, 1. Inspirational.
Inspiration.
Catch you guys later.
You guys later.
And trust me on the sunscreen.
Oh, I love the sunscreen. It's so true, that is. Right. Thank you, TikTokers. See you later. Take care. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll catch you guys later.